So as I mentioned to you, we are going to make a coffee shop, and there will be two main files. The first is the GUI for the coffee shop using the coffee menu. And there will be a report file. So we are going to use the report.txt. And we are going to make the financial report with the report.py. So this is the GUI. So let's do one by one. How can we make this GUI and this GUI? So the first GUI, it will be about the menu. We are going to select the menu, and we are going to select whether the coffee will be ice or hot, and we are going to make a checkbox. So if it is checked, then it is dine in, or you want to drink the coffee at the store. If you don't check it, then it is takeaway, or you want to grab the coffee for to go. So here there will be a quantity, how many coffee, how many menu that you want to buy, and this is the price. And here is a table, so you can see whenever you press the add button, it will be in this table. So for example, I click Americano, and then it is ice, and then if I click dine in, and the quantity is 1, so I can set up the price equals to 3,500, and it will be in this table. And let's say I want to order more, then you can click you can click add, and then there will be more items. After you finish selecting the menu, you can press order in order to check how many items that I already sell until now. Then I can see from this table, or this is kind of report. Okay, so this is the transaction 1. So in the transaction 1, there is one menu. So the menu is Americano, ice, dine in, and the total is 3,500. The second transaction, or the customer 2, they come and they want to buy Americano and cafe latte. So the price, there are 2 Americano, then the price, the subtotal will be 7,000, and there is 1 cafe latte, so the price is 4,000, and so on. So we can calculate until now there are the total income is 46,000. So the 46,000 is from this subtotal. How can we make this one in the GUI? So let's do step by step. Maybe for the first hour, we are going to do the GUI only, because to design the GUI, it requires the detail. For example, when you create the label, you will create the label and then the variable name, okay? And you need to set up the text. So first, let's open the GUI designer using the external tool, and then you can choose the widget, and then put all the components in the next page into the GUI. Okay, so you can see here there are so many widget panel, and you need to follow the object name and you need to follow the text. Okay, so I will show you the step by step. Let's go to the GUI. I will make it as coffeeshop.py. So I will make it as coffeeshop.py. So I have one file, coffeeshop.py. Oh, I think it's better not to make this one. I will make this one from the GUI. So let me delete this one. Let me make the GUI from the external tool. I will make the Qt designer. Okay. I will make it as the widget. Now let's create one by one. I will need to make the label. So the label here, it is label, and then the object name will be label menu. And then the text is menu. So you will have a label menu, and the object name is label menu. And then I will have a combo box. So what is combo box? If you look at the widget combo box, you will see a combo box here, and you can put on the form. Now the object name, let's change to the name combo box menu. Okay, so the name here is combo box menu, and then you can double click, okay, on this combo box. When you double click on this combo box, you will see there is a edit page. So this edit page means you can add more items in the combo box. If you see this one, we have plus and we have minus. So plus means we can add items, minus we can decrease the item. So let me add. If you add one, then there will be a text say new item. So I can type, for example, Americano. Then later on, when I click on this combo box, there will be an option Americano. Next, I can do more with the item. For example, this one is cafe latte. And I can do more with a new item. So this is black tea. Okay. So by following this one, I can have three menu: Americano, cafe latte, black tea. So you can add more. Let's say you want to have 5 menu. Okay, you can add more. Or if you want to limit into 3, yeah, that's also fine. Then you can click login. Now you can see that the first item is Americano. Yeah, because it is the first option. So you can also check the properties. If you want to change anything from this combo box, then you can do something on the text, or I Next, I would like to make a label. So there is another label. So the label, again, we have the label ice hot. So this is the object name. So I will change the label ice hot. Okay, and then the text will be ice or hot. Oops. Yeah, the name will be ice or hot. And then we have a radio button. So we can use radio button. The first radio button is to select ice. Then I can make the radio button ice. And the text will be ice. So you can see now we have one radio button. This is for ice. Next, I need to make the radio button for hot. Then I can make another radio button here. Let's make the name radio button hot. And the text will be hot. Then you will see there are two radio buttons, ice and hot. Next, I would like to make a label. So I need to make a label, and the label name is label dine in. And it is a label, or it is a text dine in or takeaway. Dine in or takeaway. So you can match the size. Let's say I want to increase the size. Okay, like this one. So you will see this. Yeah, you can make the GUI as you want. Is if it is too small, you can enlarge it later. Okay. And then we have a checkbox. So we have a checkbox. The checkbox is checkbox dine in, and yeah, the text will be takeaway or dine in. So you can use the filter to find the checkbox. And then the checkbox name is checkbox dine in. Yeah, the text is takeaway. Okay. So if you click, then it is takeaway. If you don't click, it is dine in. Let's see. I forgot with this function. Okay. Next, we have the quantity. So we can make another label. In this label, we can consider the label name. It is the label quantity. And then the text is quantity. For this quantity, we can use the spin box. So in the spin box, let's see what is spin box. And the spin box name will be spin box quantity. We have the spin box quantity and we need to set the minimum to 1. If you see this one, the minimum is 0. So if you do not want to increase every time, then you can set the minimum. You can find from this property here, you can find set the minimum. So I want to make the minimum as 1. Then now the value in the spin box will be equal to 1. Next, we have label. We have label, and this label will be about the price. So the name is label price, and the text will be price. Next, we have the label price tag. So whenever we have any menu, so we can put directly the price. Then this is the label price tag. And then the text will be the subtotal price. It will be different every time by looking at the menu. So you can make different price for this one. And after this, let's create a table. So we can call the table widget. So we can make the table. When you call table, you will see there are two, which is the table view and table widget. For the table view, it is only to show in the table. The table widget, there will be some more properties that you can modify. So I will use table widget. In this table widget, let's make the object name as table widget. Okay, so the object name is table widget. Okay, we can just keep the property name, the object name, and then we can double click. So when you double click, again, you will see the edit, or this is the editor. This is the table editor. You will see a tab. This is for column, and this is a tab for the row. So you can define what is the column and what is the row, and also you can include the item. But for this case, I would like to use only the column. Now, if you see this one, let's put the items or the columns as this one. So I can make the menu, and then I have ice or hot, and then I have another column which is dine in or take away, and then I have another column which is quantity, and then I have another column which is price. So there will be 5 columns in my table: menu, ice hot, dine in or take away, quantity, and price. If you click OK, then you will see that this table now contain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, why this one? Oh, this one is so hang. Okay, I think there's something wrong. So I can modify again. If you see like this one, then you can modify again. I stop like this, and then you can just okay. Now you will see the column menu, ice hot, dine in or take away, quantity, and price. After this, there are 3 more widget, which is button. So I can create the push button. The first button will be about add. So I can make the object name push button add, and then the text is add. Text will be add. Yeah, you can make it bigger, or yeah, it's up to you. And the second button is order. I will make second button, and the name push button order, and then the text for the second button is order. So you can make it bigger if you want to make it. It is to show the button more clear. And then the last one is cancel. So I can make a button, and the value or the object name will be push button cancel, and then the text will be cancel. So you can also make it bigger, for example, like this one. Okay, so we already have the GUI for the kiosk. So this is my design. Of course, you can design your GUI according to your topic. So after you have this, now we can go to the PyCharm. So we can save this user interface. You know that we can save it with the name. In this case, I would like to save the name with the coffee shop.ui. And we need to create a Python file. So you can use the function in the PyCharm. So in PyCharm, you know that to create the Python file from .ui, you can use the terminal, or you can use the external function. I think you already know from the previous example. Let me use the terminal because it is more flexible. So I would like to run this one. I will select the terminal. As you already know, you can select the terminal here in the bottom part of the PyCharm. Then I will do the statement Python minus M. So I would like to modify the coffee shop. So this is the command to convert from user interface to the Python user interface. We are using the folder GUI and the file name is coffeeshop.ui. We are going to make an output. So -o, it is an output, and the output will be in the folder GUI and the file name will be coffeeshop.py. So we have one new file, coffeeshop.py. If you open this coffeeshop.py, then you will see it is very long. Okay. Don't be afraid with this long, because it is only about the definition for every of the widget that you design. For example, this is the combo box. Okay. So this is the label for the ice hot. This is the radio button for ice. This is the radio button for hot, and so on. So they need to make one by one. They need to create the object, and then they need to specify the location, and then they need to specify what is the object name, and so on. So once you have the coffeeshop.py, now we need to execute. How to execute the Python file? We need to have a main function. In this case, I give you the main function. You can copy and paste this one to the most bottom part of coffeeshop.py. So I hope that you understand until now. We are using the PyQt5 Qt widget, and we are going to make one application, and we are going to use the Q main window for creating the main window. So we have a new class which is the main window, and we are using any function from the Q main window. In this case, we are initializing, or this is the constructor. So we are going to construct a new object. So to construct a new object means we are constructing a new user interface. And we make the user interface form. In this case, the user interface form is from here. We have the setup user interface from the UI form class. And then we are setting up the user interface. The setting up of the user interface, it is in the function setup UI. So the function setup UI contain all the details that you design in the Qt designer. So you have the combo box, you have the label menu, you have the label ice hot, radio button ice, and etc. So this is a main window. This is a window from the main window, and then we are going to show it. Now let's run it. Okay, you can see the user interface. Now, if you click this one, you will see there are three menus: Americano, Cafe Latte, Black Tea. And then if you click this one, ice or hot, then it is a selection. So later we will do with the button group. And if you click this one, it is a takeaway option. The quantity you can increase. For the button, still nothing to do because we do not design the details. Now let's get back to this PowerPoint. You already see the result, like this one. Now, there will be 5 more functions. So I already give you the functions. So we are going to look at the functions one by one later. For now, let's just add those functions into the coffee shop.py. So for your team project, I hope that you can design this function according to your topic, according to your objective. So we have a set price. So the set price means we are going to set up the price for the menu. We are going to add the data. It means if there is a menu selection from the customer, then we can add this data to the table. And then we have add data from list. It means if we already have the previous menu or we have already the previous transaction, we are going to add those data from the list. And then we have the read file. We are going to read a data from a file and then write file. We are going to write the data into the file. Now let's look one by one. In order to run with the data in the coffee shop.py, let's create 2 global variables. Do you still remember global variables? We have global variables and we have local variables. If it is global variables, mean it is a variable that you can use for all functions. You can use in all functions in a class. But for the local variable, the variable can be used only in the particular function. So if you set a variable in this function, setup UI, then the variable can be used only in this function for the local variable. Because I want to use these 2 data in all functions, then I would like to make it as a global variables. Then let's put this one after the class UI form. Put them under the class before the setup UI function. So I would like to put this one in the top after the class UI form and before the setup UI. So I have 2 empty lists. The first is about all the data and the second is about the data order, because this is the global variable. Next, we need to give more codes in order to run all the button. So there is an additional code. The most bottom of the retranslate UI function, write the code below. So ensure that the indentation is under the retranslate UI. Okay, let's see. Now I would like to select all. Okay, copy this one and then put the code in the retranslate UI. And make sure that the line is the same with this one. So I will put here. So the additional code will be First, we are going to make the button group for the radio button. It means if you select ice, you cannot select hot. So you know that in a coffee shop, you can select the menu only one, whether it is ice or whether it is hot. So we can use the radio button. And then this is a function when you click the button add. So if you click this button, then let's run the function add data. At the first time, let's set up a new variable. The total price will be 0. And then I have another button which is order. If I click this order button, let's write the file. Now let's move to the next function. So the next function is add data. This code is for adding data into a list. So every code line has description on the purpose of that code. So I give you the detail of this function. So I can put this add data. So you can copy this add data and then you can put it after the previous additional code. So this add data will be in the same indentation with the previous function. Okay, Python is very sensitive with the indentation. So the add data will be in the same line of the pre-translate UI. So it is one additional function. We are going to look at the detail how to add the data. Next, there is a new function, create a function add data from list. So this function is to add the data into the table. So each line has its own description. So I already write the description in each of the line. So I will copy this one and again I will put it below the code that I just added. Again, this function should be in the same indentation with the previous function. If you look at this one, the indentation is on the left. So this is not correct. So you need to make sure that this one is in the same indentation with the previous function. So you need to make sure that it is same with the previous function. Maybe this one is this one. Okay. And then we have another function, we call it set price. So the set price, it will return the price according to the selected combo box. So it depends on the data list. If the data is Americano, then the price will be 3,500. If the menu is cafe latte, then the price will be 4,000. If the menu is black tea, then it will be 3,800. So I need to put this one into the Python code and it will be below the function. So before we already have the add data from list. You can see from here we have the add data from list. Now I'm adding a new function which is set price. Next, I have a new function which is read file. So I'm going to read a file. I will use this one later. So I'm going to read a file and make this function into the Python file and put it below the set price. So I have the read file to read a new file. Later we will create the report one.txt. And then we have another function which is write file. So the write file, you can just copy and paste. This function will be a function to save a new data into a text file. So this is the function write file. We are going to write any of the data into the text file. So we need to create a kind of database. Of course, the database is not the database like what you may know. If it is a tool, then it can be a database with the external tool. But now let's just consider a database as a text file. So to simplify this case study, the data will be saved into a text file. So let's use the report one.txt as the database name. So let's make a file in the folder GUI. So there's a note here. We need to assume that the program has the text file. So if you run your code later, it is assumed that the text file is already in the place. If there is no text file, then the program cannot read any prior transaction. So it means you need to make at least one data, so the program can run. So let's assume there is already one transaction. So the transaction means we have a value like the transaction ID is 1, the sequence ID is 1, and the menu name is Americano. The selection is ice, whether it is ice or hot. And then when it is selected dine in or take away, it is dine in. And the quantity is 1, the subtotal is 3,500. Okay, let's make this one. Let's make the report one.txt using the file. So you can make file and then you can make report one.txt. So in this case, let's just follow the format. I have 1, 1, Americano, ice, dine in, 1, and 3,500. And then you can save this text file. Now, I guess you can run. If you run the coffee shop. So if I have Americano, let's say I select ice and then I select take away this one, and then if I click add, now you will see that the menu will be in the table. Okay. Okay, this is until the add button. I will continue with the order button after the break. Okay, let's have a break.